Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can.
How are you doing? How are you doing?
I'm doing good.
Hello, hello.
Hello, hello. How and how do we address you? Do we call you as divine masculine or do we call you by name? Sorry, I'm hiding because I'm literally smoking at the same time. So
Yeah, yeah.
you will see me hiding off screen. I'm sure Metz has told you about me. I'm Yaya. Identify as a divine feminine on my journey. So
I jumped on your live last night and you gave me a little shout out. I was the one you're like, oh, you're new to my page.
oh, was that you? I was wondering.
Yeah, yeah,
I'm so
like 2
honest.
a.m.
I don't remember people.
2
If
a.m.
you
your
told me,
time.
if you had told me you were Meta's twin, then we'd have given you more of a shout out. You know,
No, you were going to bed. You were finishing up.
everyone would have been throwing questions at you.
Yeah, right away.
Yeah, no,
Right away.
I was watching The Master at work, before I joined you this morning.
Right, right. So how are you guys doing? I know it's early morning, and I have to thank you for allowing me this opportunity to obviously bring you both onto my live and kind of just for my followers to kind of see. I know me and Meta have a lot of mutual followers, so it's just to kind of get perspective, and it will be, with your permission, obviously, will be posted on my YouTube channel more in depth. So we'll catch up with that a bit later. But thank you. What we'll do is I've got about 9 people in the room. Meta, you've got, I think, just me and somebody else.
Well, I think I've got 2 or 3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have asked my
It's
followers.
way early in the morning for everyone. Hi, Tina.
We got, you can't see my comments, but we've got Adila, Alana, Roa, they're all saying hello.
What?
They are. Oh, look, Alana said, just you two sitting together. I feel so emotional. It's beautiful. She's getting all mushy. She's getting all mushy. It is nice. It was interesting because I was in the mosque earlier and I thought of you as I was praying. And I thought, regardless of the label, like being in separation for so long, regardless of the label, you guys have found your way back. So even if you take away the twin flame label of it, it's just an amazing love story, right? So that's what I'm really proud of you guys about. So yeah, it's we got a few questions coming up, not straight away. So when I thank you for the gifts, Rachel. So we've got a lot of people excited to ask your lot's journey. But maybe if I can start off with the questions, and just for the sake of the followers, just so you know, it's 14:44 on the clock, so that's not just 144, but the 444s as well. So Meta, just kind of give us a bit of a background on, like, let's say that this, like, the snippet version of your journey, like, you know, who you identify as, how long you've been on the journey, and what you've kind of understood from the journey. So yeah, still show.
So when I came to know about this, I realized I'm the one with the feminine polarity. And it was around the same time when I was having my own spiritual awakening. And it all started 12 years ago, but it went on in like increments of different kind of situations in life, and then coming out of that and just knowing what it is. And there were many karmics involved in the process. And I feel in my case, I'm identifying there could have been a catalyst as well, and which I didn't know before. And when there was what we call inner union, so when I had closed out most of the cycles that I had, that were perpetuating all the conditioning and patterns for years and years and years and years, and I was blindly following it. And then when I realized, okay, I don't have to follow this, I can close it out. It was very hard closing it out, so I finally came to the closing this year. During the eclipses in April. And that's when I came in what we call the inner union. And then it wasn't painful. I had released a video where I was crying. I was in the middle of it, and then after that, it wasn't painful. It's like this whole thing, like this journey became seamless, and the big part was I came to acceptance that okay, I'm complete in myself. I don't need a person, and that was powerful because I've seen we all come, a lot of women or the DF, they come from a place like, I need a person to complete me, like a part of me, which is true. But then it doesn't have to be a completion, it could be an addition. And so wanting that is enabling our codependency. And this is, again, this is the part of our own growth that we get out of our codependency that has been created by the parent, then our previous partners, and it's just like strengthened over and over again. And that was when I closed the cycle last in April. I also overcome my sense of codependency because I used to be very codependent in the relationship in the past, which I didn't realize. Yeah. And then there we were.
Do you know one thing that's just stood out from what you've said, and I've never looked at it like that, is it's not completion, it's an addition.
Yeah.
I've never heard that, and that's actually a very good quote. So if I start using it, please don't sue me for using your quote.
I won't.
That's the first time I've ever heard that, because we always taught it's not about, we have to learn to be okay alone. And most of the times we are okay with being alone, you know, and sometimes it's not a necessity, it becomes a want rather than a need. And it's an addition really explains the want of that, not the need of it. And I mean, I've had conversations in the last week with so many divine feminines, not just on a twin flame journey, but just in general, including with my wife. And I've said kind of like, you know, we have to learn to be okay alone. You know, sometimes we always want to think. And funny enough, I was in the hospital yesterday, and it was my father-in-law that was in hospital. And he was just there, and obviously he's got my wife there and his kids. And I was like, what if in the future that's me and I'm by myself and there's no one there? And then you have to kind of think, well, what if you grew up as an orphan? You know, what if like you didn't have any family? You know, we still have to go through this alone regardless. So we become dependent on people. And I actually love that saying, you know, it's an addition, you know. So thank you for sharing that. I know a lot of people don't understand the waves of the twin flames. I know that you fall under the wave too. How have you found that compared to a lot of people who are more up and coming in the third wave? So like for myself, I'm a third wave. So when you look at people in the third wave coming into union, like for me, it's really fascinating to see. And I see you as an example for many people in the first and second wave that don't give up hope regardless. Because naturally, when you hear someone's been on a journey 12 years, 7 years, we always think, oh, that's such a long time and I have to wait that. It's not always the case. And I've seen a lot of second wavers get bitter towards third wavers because they're already in union and like, I've been on this journey. How did you find that as a struggle? Or did you find it as a struggle at all?
Oh, it was a big struggle. Because last year was a big struggle when I saw everybody, how they were coming together, and then I was like, what's going on? Like, is there something that I'm not doing right? And that part itself was wrong because second wavers have come up with so much of baggage to clear. Mm-hmm. It's heavy, and it's not just like our own stuff. It's family stuff. You know, it's generational. And when one person is pressured with so much baggage and have to overcome from all of that, it takes time. Mm-hmm. And that's what second waivers are. It's going to take time if we don't wake up and really see and stop comparing and acknowledge that we are doing a hard job and there's light at the end of the tunnel, but we don't need to compare. I did get into the comparison rabbit hole for a little bit. Mm-hmm. Last year, it was hard, around June or so. But then I realized, you know, I have a karmic family. all the people. And I almost got killed in my last relationship. And I'm here. And I've recovered. And I'm mentally stable, physically safe, emotionally sane. So like I'm doing well.
Just on that toxic families, now obviously coming from a South Asian background, we were always brought up kind of believing that our families have to be there, and there's always a lot of society and cultural pressure on there. Are you still in communication with most of your family?
No, not my biological family. I don't talk to anyone of those.
Right. And then I've got a question for your twin. Cultural differences.
Yeah.
Cultural differences. How did you find to navigate around that?
You mean being with Meta?
Yes.
Like, yeah. So, I mean, she's been where she's living now for a while. So there weren't too many things I needed to really consider for her to know what's going on in culture around where we live and things. But I would say the biggest point that I realized was the way people look at us when we are out and having fun or going places. There's definitely some looks, and a lot of the looks and staring comes from, I would say, the Indian population.
Yes.
Who are like, look at this beautiful white man. This beautiful Indian woman. What is happening? Why do they look so happy? And then there's just a lot of staring that I had to get used to.
A lot of staring.
Yeah. And then I've actually come up against a couple really kind of weird comments from people I've met at parties and things who make, hot Indian woman jokes and some slurs that way. So it's something I didn't think was really going to be there or be an issue, and it hasn't been too much of an issue, but it's kind of inspiring actually to just be even closer. Because it's like, yeah, you can stare all you want. I mean,
I guess Meta, for you, most of the times, like we as Asians would get the question, was there not enough of Asian men around that you have to choose someone out of your culture? And that's a common thing that's happened a lot, I think, in society. Have you experienced that?
Do I experience that?
No, Meta. Because we get told that a lot. I mean, whenever we talk with people from our own culture, that's the first thing they will say. Well, why go for someone out of your own culture where there are not enough of your own cultural men that you could have chosen? Did you ever experience that?
I don't hang around with a lot of people of our culture.
which is fine.
Yeah, and I do have some friends, but I haven't told them yet about us, and so I haven't had any specifics. I did have a friend who visited me from the meditation center. She's from our culture, and I told her, and she was very accepting about it. But I do understand what you're asking, that there is a resistance to go out of culture, and that's exactly what he said in the beginning. He thought that Indian women don't date people outside of the culture, and I mean, for most people that's right, but you're looking at the wrong one.
Well, yeah, I mean, I have learned going out and having fun and doing some events and things that there are a large amount of Indian women who like white men.
I heard you got you doing Bhangra. How was that?
Oh yeah, for sure. There's a lot of dancing. There's a lot of dancing here.
Yes.
It was a big passion of mine when we got together, and that continued every weekend. And some great fun Indian dancing events around here. And there's a lot of women who are into white men. So
it's actually become even the norm in Bollywood. Like you can look at Preeti Zinta, Priyanka Chopra.
Yeah.
You see these people who are famous Bollywood actresses who married white men. And it's becoming much more normal now. It's becoming more acceptable in society.
So much normal.
You will still get the odd uncles and aunties lifting their eyebrows at you.
Oh yeah.
So we will always get that. We'll always get that, regardless of what it is. And even if you look at my personal family, I mean, we have quite a diverse family. My own sister's married to black guys and kind of things like that. So we've become a bit more open. And I think if my grandparents were around, that would have been a bit more difficult to kind of work through. So that is I know naturally on a twin flame journey, that's one of the kind of barriers, apart from age and like sexual orientation, ethnicities. All this plays a big part because it creates a barrier. Because if you come from a very strict family who don't allow that, it's very hard to kind of come out of that, and it takes a lot of tests and trials.
Oh yeah.
I want to start off with asking the questions with the guys. So can you, when you're asking questions, can you put the question down as who you are asking the question to? So if it's Meta, please put Meta's name. If it's to her twin, put twin. And if it's for me, then please feel free to add my name in there and we will answer the questions. There was a question that someone asked earlier, and I'm just going to quickly answer that because it wasn't direct. It says, would you say twin flame journey is toxic or narcissist? Yes and no. It depends on how you are as a person. I'm going to be honest, I was a toxic and narcissistic person back in the days, and I've had to kind of release that and heal it. And I've come a lot. It was one of the painful things that you have to kind of release, because we don't often admit that we are narcissistic or toxic until we're actually faced with that situation. And I'll be honest, a bit of a bitch to release that one, you know. It took a while to take out, but I had to look at myself in the mirror a lot and call myself out on a lot of behaviors. So Meta, we've got a question for you from Lisa. Did you ever feel like giving up at the final stages?
I gave up the label. I gave up the attachment to it.
All right, she's busy eating the waffles I made for breakfast.
Thank you. So I gave up the label because I think a lot of pain that we experience, it's from our attachment to the label, but not to the purpose of it. And that's where everybody is, because we keep looping. And I did loop as well. So I understand totally where it comes from. Like, you know what, I don't want to do this. It's just too much. What's too much is the attachment to the label. Mm-hmm. But if you really accept the purpose of it and tell yourself, you know, I'm just going to become the best version of myself. I'm going to keep growing regardless of twin, soulmate or not. Because we are going to live with ourselves for the rest of our lives, whether or not the person stays with us. So why not do it anyway? And that really helped because I thought my family was going to be for me, but they weren't. And so I had to completely cut contact with them. This is my biological family. And then I realized, you know what? Maybe I don't have to be so codependent and need someone, not family or twin. I'm okay by myself. And that's the thought that was like, that made me more powerful. Mm-hmm. And so, yes, there were times I did feel in the past to give up, but that was only when I was attached to the labels. But when I took my attachment away from it, and I told myself, we are doing this for ourselves, like I'm doing this for me, not for anyone else. And so that became more solid.
Yeah. A question to the both of you from Alana. How many times did reunions happen before union?
No. It was like once and done.
It was what, sorry?
Once and done, like
once. Right.
Once and done.
Did he ever come back and test you?
We test each other, yeah. We've tested each other every here and there. If not through him per se, but I would get tested.
So did you ever feel when we had some sort of communication in between that, right, this is union or this is not union?
I didn't. I thought it would be another cycle of test, but it wasn't.
So a question to both of you from Adila. Do you still trigger each other in union?
Trigger each other? I think when we have experiences together, either sexually or in communication, or something comes up, I think there's more external triggers, and we look to each other and we talk through how to support each other. But I don't feel we have too many triggers really right now that are me triggering you or you triggering me.
No, it's the situations and our responses to it.
Yeah, it's external situations in life, daily life.
But we talk through it.
Yeah.
And we kind of check in on each other, whatever's bothering, and communicate that.
Yeah, daily, multiple times a day.
Yeah. So triggers are there, but the way we navigate that is different. So it's through communication. Because I do feel triggered quite sometimes. When I tell you, when I'm processing stuff,
Yeah.
that's my trigger.
Yeah. Yeah, I think every day we have something where we're like, I'm processing this.
Yeah, give me a moment.
Give me a moment. And then we'll talk about it when we're in process.
Who initiated contact back in return? And so coming to you then, how did you feel when you were making that contact to return? What pushed you?
I was chill. I was out somewhere. I was at a festival for 2 days. I was chill. I responded, but then I got busy again. So I didn't respond for like a day.
Yeah, I was patient. I was ready.
He was good. And then we decided to meet. We went on a date. So then I realized, okay, this doesn't look like a cycle.
So what made him do it? What pushed you to reach out?
What pushed me to reach out?
Yeah.
This is weird. Two things. What pushed me to reach out is the energetic connection. So that is like top for me, is feeling that connection that feels safe and it feels right. I'm not pushing it too hard. I'm not working at it too hard, and it's powerful. And when all those things align, I know it's a good time to make moves, to communicate to certain people. And I just knew it was right to reach out to her and link up.
You knew that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It had been a good year for me to really undo labels for myself. I did a lot of exploration with different partners, different people, different colors, different everything. And I was ready to enter into this with you without labels.
Oh my God, that was so helpful.
And it's been amazing for our communication.
Yeah.
Okay, so Sarah is asking, did you have a conversation about everything that happened, or did you just move on to union?
Why don't you answer that one?
I will.
Just kidding.
Yeah. We did have a conversation about everything that happened, but not in the way of digging up dead bodies and conversations. But
Like moving forward.
Yeah, it was like moving forward. And we communicated the experiences we had in the meantime when we were growing separately, and how we were coming up to a point where we were ready for this. And with those experiences, what was happening in our life, like he had something going on, I had something going on, and how that was helping us grow together, parallel. And it's similar. It's very similar. It's just different. His was more outwardly, I think.
Yeah.
Out in the world.
Like outwardly attacked, yeah.
Yeah. And mine was more mental. So like everything. There were certain things where it was very overwhelming. Very overwhelming. Last year was a part of it.
So tying on to that, Lisa is asking, and I do want to put a disclaimer out there: you do not have to answer anything you guys are not comfortable with. Was you, and this is a question to both of you, was you ever with anyone else in between during that separation? I like to call them place fillers. I call them place fillers. I don't give, that's the only label I give them, because they're doing the task of your counterpart who is absent in your life.
Exactly. Yes.
With
That's why I
all
call them
respect,
place
they are a place filler. With all due respect. With the utmost regard, you're a place filler. Yeah.
Yeah, I did. We actually started parallelly dating around the same time. Like I started dating in January this year.
Yeah, I was right around, I think, like Christmas time. Had another partner.
So you would have started it and then Meta followed. So you were actually mirroring each other. So
But
naturally,
very parallel.
Actually, that's very true, because I started going out dancing a lot on my own and trying to find like good, energetic people to connect with. It was very difficult when you're out in the wild trying to
Yes,
find
it's wild.
grounded, smart people who can handle their own energy. And I was out dancing, and I was like, I'm really enjoying this independence, but I am ready for a relationship. And it was a good moment of realization, you know, sort of like you were saying, the addition.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
you know, hearing this is actually quite amazing, because I can in my head hear my twin saying all this, and I think a lot of people will relate to, for the divine feminines, regardless of gender. You can hear your twin saying exactly the same, because this is also sounding a lot like Haley and her twin when I interviewed them, which leads me on to the next question, because these are very similar questions to what we asked Haley, and this is towards your twin from Sarah. Did you always know you'd come back to Meta?
Energetic.
I believe that I will always come back to Meta right now. I would hope for a life that I feel that. I mean, that's what I feel. I don't think I've ever told you that.
No.
I'm going to ask a question for the team, for the entire. I'm going to take one for the team, which most divine feminines always want to ask, because when as a Meta, I think you can kind of confirm this. A lot of the divine feminines says, "Oh, why do we have to go through all this?" And they go through nothing. What was the torture you were going through while in separation? And this is towards your twin.
Whoa. So the trauma and everything, what
Yeah.
you had overcome.
But what was the reminders from the universe or God to push you back towards Meta? Did you get like the numbers, the signs and synchronicities, seeing Indian culture everywhere you go, seeing women that look like Meta, or dreams, literally torture that you can't
I
get
see what
away
you're
from?
getting at, and I'm going to answer it more about myself and the things that I had to encounter and go through, as opposed to like glimpses of Meta out on the streets or something. I had to go through a traumatic experience that changed everything about my life, my career, my finances, my relationships. I basically had like a death to my entire self that I thought who I was. And through a lot of counseling, through a couple really close friends who stood by me, a couple only, it was a complete rebuild. So it was during COVID. I'm rebuilding my life. I'm doing counseling every week. And because of what happened to me, I went through a time where I actually didn't go out in public much. So this is a large like thing for me to come back onto social media. I've been gone for a few years.
What are the age gap between you two?
At least 50 years. I mean, I'm 75.
Well, is Meta 50 years younger than you?
Meta is 50 years wiser than me.
We are Team Divine Feminine, so we are going to back up Meta all the way. So,
But yeah, so I went through all this and found myself on the other side, a stronger person, energetically more powerful, and sort of in weight and in want for someone who can handle my new self, as far as the level of energy that I can transfer, the ways that I need to communicate very openly and have a very open lifestyle. And I'm in a much better place now. So
I'm glad to hear that, because for a divine masculine, it takes a lot of courage to kind of say, hey, I need to fix myself, or I need to kind of recognize certain things that are not acceptable to ourselves, let alone anyone else. It's literally running. Naturally, the divine masculines run from themselves, and they run into a brick wall, but that brick wall is also a mirror, because you have to face it some way or another. And I find that regardless of the label in life, generally, when we are running from something, we're given plenty of opportunities to kind of change our ways. And when we ignore this, divine intervention takes place, and sometimes we have to learn the hard way. So I think Neelam was asking, do you see you have a lot of healing to go through? And I think you really just answered that, the amount of stuff you have to go through. Because divine feminines also go through that, kind of loss of jobs, loss of friends, loss of family. And I think naturally the feminine goes through it much more quicker. But based on what you were saying when you were mirroring relationships, being with partners, sometimes, yes, we are often told that the divine feminine has to lead. It's not always the case, because sometimes we do mirror the masculines as well. And I feel right now, collectively, a lot of feminines are facing a mirror of the masculines right now. So we are going through what they are going through, but more on the emotional aspect of it. So you've got an appreciation from Betsy, who's saying, we appreciate you so much. Alana is asking, what made you initially run from Meta?
What?
run from Meta?
Yeah.
I don't think I need to answer that.
Yeah, no, it's fine.
That's fine. That's fine. If you're not comfortable with answering any questions, I mean, naturally,
I'm not running from Meta right now.
No.
I'm running towards her. That's for sure.
And that's really good. When you instead of running outwards, you're running towards each other is good, because naturally, when people are so close to union, they turn their backs on each other and run away from each other, rather than the runner chases totally stops.
Yeah.
And they run away from each other, and that's a bit like, you've done all that work, and why are you doing that now?
And I want to add up something over there. It's that you'll mirror the running and chasing with some unhealthy partners as well. Mm-hmm. And it could easily seem like they are your twin, which is so easy, because that's what we've always wanted. Mm-hmm. And they might not be. And so just being ready and having that discernment, if that happens. And so that's why not being attached to the label, attached to the growth. Mm-hmm. Because when you grow, you see the toxic patterns, and then you'll know, hey, this is not the twin. This is something unhealthy I don't want in my life. Mm-hmm. And then taking a decision to move away from that. Mm-hmm. So running and chasing is always not healthy. And I mean, I've done that, not good. I was not in the right mindset. But now that I've come on the other side, I realized it was so easy for me to fall prey to somebody who was not going to be good to me.
Yeah.
Well, the way I like to see it is, it's like any relationships that we already have other terms for. You're seeing each other, you're dating, you're married, you're engaged. I mean, every relationship has so much ebb and flow, and we have different terms for the whole journey of that relationship with somebody. To me personally, it seems to put twin flame in a box where, there might be waves, there might be breaks, things like that. But I think there's a lot more depth to somebody who might be a twin flame. And you lose the ability to see that depth when you just label it. Mm-hmm.
So, what would your advice be, not Meta, twin. What would your advice be to the divine feminines? What's the best advice you can give?
The best advice I can give:
Yeah.
daily look at yourself to be the most healthy version of you so that you can love that other partner of yours. And so that you are open and ready to accept the love, the compliments, and the more aware you are of what you need and how you give, then the better you'll be able to see, is this person what I need in my life? Is this person going to serve me the way I need? Is this person good for me every day? I think it's all about self-understanding, you know? If you're not doing the work on the inside and you're just searching, hunting, you're going to be so needy or so in need of that relationship that you'll take anything. So I went through a few placeholders to realize, like, this is empty. I'm hunting, I'm searching, and I know what I'm searching for, and it was someone just like Meta. So I had to just stop searching and realize what's in front of me.
So just as a side note, just want to thank everyone who's sending the gifts to me. Empath Boss is congratulations. I don't know if you follow Empath Boss. She started following me the other day, and her content's crazy. So I find it so crazy, like, because she's already in union and she posts a lot of stuff. So I don't know, Meta, if you follow her. So she puts like all these like crazy, the crazy stuff we go through. And like, when we're in that crazy chaser dynamic and how we feel really silly. So her content's really good.
I'm so happy to be not in that anymore. Like, I was losing my mind.
Yeah, and I know, because obviously we followed each other, and my advice is we can, if Empath Boss does agree to do an interview with me, I'm more than happy to conduct that interview. I had a question and it's gone. I was saying that about us feminines. We have a community, and I always say this to people, that go a bit easy on your masculines, because the feminines have a soul tribe. We have a community. We talk to each other. The masculines don't. They literally have to do it themselves. And we, even as like me and Meta, who's doing the coaching with people, helping people, we have to sometimes put this mask on of bravery and show people that we're also okay, but internally we're going through so much. We literally go through everything at the same time as all of our soul tribes, and we should be grateful that we have a community, whereas the masculines don't. And the masculines do actually end up learning the hard way, because I think, tying on to the question that was asked earlier, which you weren't happy to answer, and I'm happy with that, because what they were trying to get to is that, do people often run because there's healing involved? But again, you've kind of responded to that by saying in your advice to feminines that you have to look at yourself. You have to look at yourself, and we have to kind of reflect. And the amount of divine feminines that I've coached, and I've had to have harsh words with them saying, well, actually, no, you need to do this and you need to do that. And we get a lot of people who are like, oh no, I'm perfect, I don't need healing, he needs to do it. And I said, no, there was nobody.
It starts here.
And I say to people that when you have an expectation of a partner, and if that person cannot match that expectation, there's nothing wrong with your expectation. That person is not the right one or the right fit to match that. And we often blame the other person, saying, you're not good enough, you're this, you're that. But it's us that wants this person to be a way we want. And now you're going to find in union, when you merge together, it's about now the healing you've done individually, how do you merge these together, which does, because I've seen people in union who have the little fights here and there, but then when you pass that, we literally come together and you make a home together. And I was saying this the other night, Meta, to you, that Haley, she's now redone her whole house, and they've both put their mark on this, and this is their nest forever home, and that's when you come to that agreement of, right, we've learnt this, and this is the person. So a lot of people, Roa is saying thank you to me and you for kind of creating this thing. Of course, an empath boss is saying union is hard. Of course, you know, union is always going to be hard. You're the same person in different energies. You know, you've learned so much, and it's like meeting the same person as a new energy, total different. Like same looks, same, but not even some people come back in a different body. Like literally, you know, you've gone to the gym, you've worked on that stuff, and you're not used to that. So we now have to get used to it. Now, for example, you could have a feminine a female who is dating a man who was maybe quite big in terms of body size, and all of a sudden he's hit the gym and come ripped up, and the female will be like, right, you're the hottest man alive right now, and all the women are going to be after you, and she now has to deal with this new type of body that she wasn't expecting, and that's something you have to heal as well. And so it's never going to be easy, right? Like if you've gone from a size 18 plus to a size 10, that's like the whole world sees that, you know. So you have to work through jealousy triggers, you have to work through all that, and you will. And again, empath boss is saying triggers. Yes, and there's other people that always come to me and say, even in union, I can't do this. I just can't do this. I can't do this. It's a whole new person, you know. It's a whole new person. You're now in union. I am a bit conscious of time because I've got about 10 minutes before I have to take my son shopping. Is there any more questions that you guys want to ask in here before we kind of wrap this up in the next 10 minutes? For my followers, because we've got about 15 people on. You also have Empress J on your side. Hello, Janet. I hope you're well.
Yeah, I see her.
Yeah. So any questions? Thank you, Empath Boss. You have a great day too.
Thanks, Empath Boss.
Can you talk a little bit more about running away from each other before union? So that's from Katie Finnegan. I know we've covered that. Do you want to
that again? We're not comfortable talking about that.
Okay. So that one is a question, Katie, that we have to respect certain things about why they run from each other, and that's something that's kind of sacred to them. So unfortunately, if we look at it as a collective, most of the times there are issues there that we are not ready to face, which causes us to run away from each other. That's like the generic answer I can give you.
I have a question from Janet on my end. She's asking, did you get particular signs before you reached union? Yes.
What was it?
Yeah, what were some of the signs for you?
Yeah, you would want to know, right?
Yeah, I would love to know.
So I think you all knew that I was at the meditation center for a year. I was doing my thing, going deep. And so I just come back from that 1 year travel, and I was resting, and then meditating and resting. And one day during meditation, I realized, I start feeling the energy, and I realized that it's not mine. And I had not tapped into anyone else's energy for months, since December last year. So it was a new feeling for me. And I couldn't put the finger on what energy it was. And so I kind of embraced it, like, cool. But I knew that also is gonna be like a romantic energy where it felt like a man's, more solid, grounded. And so, but I didn't know, I didn't have anybody around me per se, because I just came back. I didn't have any friends. I didn't know anyone. So I was all by myself. And so I started going out and doing my thing. Yes, the signs were signing, you know, but the biggest sign was the presence of the energy the whole time. Until we met in person, that's when I realized, okay, this is what it was. But I was only feeling it on a very basic level. But what it was when we met was like exponentially out of this world. Yeah.
Any change of numbers or like the physical signs did you see apart from the energy? Anything like in physical?
Numbers, yeah, like I said, like numbers were numbering everywhere, but I didn't pay attention. That was another thing that surprisingly happened to me. Was I was like, I'll just look at a number like, it's fine, whatever. And so I'd look at it and I'm like, okay, whatever. No attachment. So, but I do observe it, and I've always observed the numbers since I was a kid. And so it became a lot of an obsession in the beginning during my Kundalini awakening because it was a lot. And if anybody has not watched my Kundalini awakening video, go watch it on my profile. I've pinned it. That is the most detailed, candid information you'll ever receive of what a Kundalini awakening is. And so numbers were numbering, but no other signs did I see per se. And if I did, I wasn't paying attention because I was like, you know what? I'm done. I'm not chasing. I'm getting rid of this obsession because it's taken such a big part of my mind for such a long time. I'm like, I'm not doing that again.
When was that thought? Is it like April, March, April?
Yeah.
Yeah, me too. Wow.
Actually, I do find that energies, when they change, it takes about 3 to 6 months for fruition to come through.
Yeah.
It can take 3 to 6 months, so that makes sense. If it was March, April, that's about 3 months before we can.
3 months, yeah.
Yeah, because I've been talking to Haley and my signs have been signing, and she said, "Oh, wait till you start seeing this, and then you start seeing it." And now with the numbers, I'll be honest, like numbers have meaning specific to you, but they also mean nothing, and that's what I'm trying to get people to detach from numbers. That a number is just there to catch your attention, you know. It's to give you hope, you know. Like
It's a guidance.
Yeah. When I'm in doubt of twin flame journeys, I see 144. If I'm in doubt of my connection, I see 222 because they have specific memories. So, and I'm going to narrow it down to any 2 questions now. Alana's asking, did you see each other in dreams?
Yeah. But not before the union. But right after, the dreams were. So the first dream I'd seen in the first week itself, I think I told you.
Did you tell me?
I did.
Oh, I would love to hear this. Let's hear this dream.
So the first dream I dreamt was the Northern Lights.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I saw the Northern Lights and a sun at the horizon, icebergs. It was beautiful.
Really? When did you have that dream?
The beginning of June.
Okay. Because I've had similar dreams, so that's quite interesting.
Yeah.
That's very interesting.
Did he also have dreams of you?
So I've had a different response where I've actually started sleeping better than I've ever slept in my life.
Right.
I'm sleeping less because we're staying up kind of late. But the few hours I get a night is like the deepest, best. I'm not really dreaming right now. It's a very weird place.
You're resting.
I'm getting rest. I'm like in a deep rest.
That's amazing because naturally it's a safe space. It's home, so you can feel that.
It very much feels like that. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if anyone else is. I've been in the same room as my twin, and I can't sleep that night. It's because I will wake up and check up on them to see if they're okay, and it's really weird. And I find that to be more like the divine feminine is just making sure that the masculine is safe. It's really weird. I mean, I don't know if anyone else has experienced that. Did you see each other's initials a lot?
I don't know.
No.
Again, I know because Neelam's asking that because Neelam's been hounded by her twins' initials, and that's pretty common as well.
It's common, yeah.
Your initials,
You know-
yeah. Your initials are my brother's initials. It's kind of weird. I just realized that.
Oh, geez.
There you go, Neelam. You just triggered that.
You know, now that I'm thinking back at it, see, I had not paid attention to any sign. So, I was like, fuck this. I don't care. But now thinking back, I did see your initial.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So when I went to the festival, I was in Qatar.
But again, every twin will experience different signs and synchronicities, and you will also align with people who face similar ones, and we can help navigate each other. So just because you don't see it and someone else sees it, some people naturally going to doubt, oh, well, I don't see it and this person does, or this person gets this sign and I don't. That doesn't mean, like, you know, you're not part of this. I'm just reading. So for him, it was more of an energetic pull than physical. Yes, naturally, naturally, the divine feminine would have different. I want to call it torture, and the masculine has different torture. And I'm just calling it that because it's difficult at the time.
It's torture only when you are not balanced.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Only when you're not balanced, it's going to be a torture. When you're balanced, you're good.
Yeah.
It's insane.
Yeah.
It's-
Right. So that I'm going to kind of wrap it up there because I literally need to go and pick up my son now. Otherwise, we could be here talking for hours and hours and come up with random kind of questions. I want to thank you, but I do want to congratulate you as well. Like, you know, I know, like, regardless of the label, like I said, I was praying in the mosque and I thought of you guys and I was like, twin or no twin, like coming back after so long is it shows the connection of love. You know, love is something that we need to spread within the world. Like we were talking about this on my live yesterday about current situations that are going on in the world. You know, when you look at certain like police brutality and stuff like that, there's no kind of there's no love at the moment. Everyone's just angry and hating at each other, and it's about now showing people. And for the 14 people in my life right now, this is proof that, you know, you don't need to have the label of a twin flame. If you have solid love, unconditional love for someone, you know, it will always come back. You know, whatever is meant to be will always meant to be. And sometimes we have to depart from each other's life temporarily. And if it doesn't come back, then it doesn't mean that, you know, there was something wrong with it. It just means that person has served their purpose in your life and they need to move on. But Meta and her twin right now are there to give people hope that don't give up, you know, continue working on yourself and what's for you will never pass you. So I do want to congratulate you guys on that. You know, it's such a relief to see that, you know, like me as a like kind of coach to other people say, look, this is solid proof that it does happen. You know, don't give up on yourself. So thank you so much for taking time out. I know it's early morning, you know, because if you had asked me to do early morning, I'd be like, no, I took about 3 hours just to wake up. So I appreciate that, and I want to wish you the best on your journey together, because you're one now, and I want to wish you the best on that and continue doing what you guys are good at. So thank you so much.